What was your "I'm surrounded by idiots" moment? Couple of young girls at the staff canteen said to the lady serving sausage bombs, "So what animal is used for sausages? Is there an animal called a sausage?" Serving lady, "I don't know." I didn't know who I hated or felt sorry for the most. In her defense, "I don't know" was a perfectly reasonable answer to the question, what animal is used in these sausages? Yeah, there are beef pork, chicken beef, etc. mixes. It's also the go-to apathetic response lol. "I don't know" can just as easily mean "I don't care." Also probably the quickest way to disengage from someone who just asked her if there is an animal called sausage. I had a friend who never locked her door. She thought if they were locked and somebody had break in she couldn't escape. She lived on first floor. She needs one of them fancy doors with the lock on the inside so she could let herself out of her own apartment. I had a friend in college who kept getting on her roommate for leaving the door unlocked. The roommate said, "There's no point. It just keeps honest people honest." Nothing could get her to change her mind. There is this weird, super common logical fallacy you hear all the time. Since you can't avoid all risk, there is no reason to bother avoiding risk, period. Why are you about to do super dangerous thing? Well, you could die just crossing the street. Question mark, question mark, question mark. In my experience, the most common failing of people from all walks of life is understanding and applying risk management. Every day I go to work in my local leisure center. The heat and humidity are draining enough, but it really gets you when parents come in with 2 children that can't swim and leave one of them alone. "Sir, ma'am, you need to stay with both of your children. They can't swim." "Oh, okay. I'm sure they'll be fine." Child starts getting into difficulty without the parents seeing. Our thing was that kids always had to be within an arm's length of their parents. If they weren't after 2 warnings, they got kicked out with no refund. There is a girl in my class that is beyond help at this point. Her best moments: "I don't want to donate my eyes because I don't want people to see what I've seen. Gingers can't be American, yay. I got a D in French. I just want to clarify the French grade. I don't want to seem like I think him better than anyone because of grades." I wrote this one down because she interrupted other people's learning and shouted this out in the middle of the lesson. Honestly, as long as anyone tries in their test it's fine, but she was on her phone most of the time. "I don't want to donate my eyes because I don't want people to see what I've seen." There's a creepy writing prompt in there somewhere. Yay. I got a D in French. I've known people where that would indeed be cause for celebration. She finished school with an E in art and an E in French, and no other grades. The part where she doesn't want people to see what she's seen makes me think there might be a trauma-based reason for being beyond help. One co-worker told her boss's boss to come down to her office if he wanted something from her. One co-worker got a slice of bread jammed in the toaster and poked it with a fork. Our security guard accidentally shredded his paycheck. One co-worker terminated her apartment lease and had a removal company standing in the hallway without having a new apartment lined up. My sister-in-law had no clue why her 50 kgs of surplus weight would contribute to her breaking her ankle while walking down some stairs. All in one day. I took the next day off. One co-worker got a slice of bread jammed in the toaster and poked it with a fork. When I was a very young kid I used to purposefully touch the heating element of the toaster with a metal knife because it sparked, and I thought it was cool. Luckily I think it had an insulated handle. One co-worker got a slice of bread jammed in the toaster and poked it with a fork. Almost won a Darwin Award. Like UHH, I do this regularly. I have yet to see any sparks or whatever and am not electrocuted. Should I stop? When I was the only person in the class who knew that you do just turn a computer on and you need to turn the monitor on as well. Or the only one who knows about things like CRTLF or entering complete phrases into the search engine. At one school I taught in, the 15-year-old students didn't know about a CTRLF, so when I told someone to use it the whole class was astonished. This was a year ago. These kids are born in the age of tech and didn't know CTRLF. In a grade 8 social studies class, when I told my teacher the Great Wall of China could not be seen from space and she said, "When were you in space?" and everyone laughed at me. You can do the math and show that the angular width of the wall from the edge of Earth's atmosphere is roughly 0.0006 degrees. To put that in perspective, the angular size of a bacterium from 1 meter away is approximate 0.06 degrees. Got in a heated debate whether plants would exist without humans because we water them. Everyone thought plants would die without humans. Me and one other person were the only ones that thought otherwise. The only possible way to be fair about this is potted plants indoors. What do they think forests are? I feel like they thought those water helicopters used to put out fires also watered forests or something. Did they not realize that plants had to exist before humans in order for humans to survive? Or better yet, that somehow plants in areas with no human contact, like places that have been completely abandoned and under shade due to radiation, could survive on just rainwater? So I work at a doctor's office. Our office is always getting in trouble because we have the lowest rates of physicals booked, despite being the biggest office within the system. We also have had a huge problem with follow-ups not being booked, etc etc. So one day, at a meeting with all of the front-end workers, the boss made a comment about how we need to be checking patients out properly. One person, who has been there 9 years, 9 years sitting at checkout, goes, "How do you check out a patient?" Now, this wasn't a clarification question such as what would you like us to do differently. Oh no. This woman meant exactly what she asked. She didn't know there was a checkout button or how to schedule a follow-up. She's been there 9 years. She sits at checkout. I don't get it. Anyway, so the other checkout women during this conversation told her that there is a checkout button, but doesn't know how to tell if they need a follow-up. She's worked here 2 years. When you click the button to check out, it says on a full separate page that you have to acknowledge in order to complete the checkout process. Come back in 1 year for physical. Needs follow-up 6 weeks. etc etc. I looked at my manager in complete agreeance and I banged my head on the table. I joined a college group to help build a race car. During one of the first meetings, when they were taking apart some components, I used the word acrid to describe the smell of some liquid I had smelled in the shop. Now, I wasn't an engineering student, but everyone else in the shop was. They all discounted me because they thought I made up a word. It wasn't that they didn't know the word, but refused to look it up and kept berating me for it. Their attitude towards the whole thing was toxic, and I left the group shortly after that. I was in a poetry writing class where we peer reviewed everyone's poems. I got one of my poems back where the reviewer had circled the word soporific and written "this is not a word." Okay, everyone doesn't know every word. I get that. Soporific isn't a word that you hear every day, I understand. But to confidently insist that a word new to you simply can't be a word because you don't know it, and not even bother to open a dictionary to check, I do not get that. I was in this exact same scenario, but I used the word tendril. Yours I understand. I read a lot, and I'm not sure I've come across soporific before, but tendril? Come on. I realized I was with the wrong crowd, including GF, when I registered for college at the age of 30 and all they could do was tell me I was wasting my time and laugh at me. I spent most of my 20s hooked on drugs after my mom died because I was so depressed, so they didn't think I could accomplish anything. Today, I'm 32 with a 3.8 GPA, transferring to a top 5 university across the country to go to med school. Don't let anyone tell you that you can't accomplish things despite having a colorful past. Edit just wanted to thank people for the kind words and positive comments. It's nice to read and reassures me that I'm on the right track, so thank you. Today, I'm 32 with a 3.8 GPA, transferring to a top 5 university across the country to go to med school. That's awesome. Congratulations. Go you. Get that medical degree. Those people will only hold you back and siphon money and time from you. I got into a debate of whether 10 or 100 was the average IQ. It was obviously 100, but I'm pretty sure 10 was the correct answer for them. I bet it depends on the control group. Average for all humans, 100 average for that room, 10. And remember, your higher IQ boosted the room average up to 10. When I was in elementary school, I did a presentation on Pocahontas and everyone in class insisted she wasn't a real person. I don't even think the teacher backed me up. Thanks for nothing, Mrs. Spell. When I was starting my second year in high school, in my geography class we were put into groups and asked to find certain countries. We were to find Brazil and the other 4 people in my group insisted that the entirety of Africa was Brazil. Give me a minute. Gotta call my world history teacher from last year to confirm. Edit ha, guess you were right. I dye my hair silly colors and lately have been different shades of purple. I was checking out at the tills when I overheard one woman ask another if my color was natural. I turned and looked dead at them, and the second woman was squinting at me. I raised my eyebrows in a sort of yeah, your friend seriously thinks this is natural thing, but the squinting woman turned back to her friend and said yeah, even her roots are purple, so it must be. I did a 1,000-yard stare as I collected my things and left. Working in the wireless industry for the last 10 years. Daily it truly is shocking just how dumb people are. I have become like a beat down cop working in the ghetto his entire career. There's little to no common sense out there today. Mom, why don't I have the Chili's app? Me IDK, you never downloaded it? Mom, why wouldn't I have? Me dude, I don't know. Mom, can you send a message on Facebook for me? Me, I don't know how. Mom, yes you do. You are on the computer all the time. Me, mom. Those two things don't necessarily correlate. No, I'm not it. I'm just younger than her, therefore I know all technology.